Fire, what you saying?
Yes, it's a joy again, Foolish.
We are here again, Ballhead and the Dread. Hopefully everyone is doing good. Good things for everybody supporting the thing from those times till now. Also, new stuff coming from Conscious T, so definitely look out for that. And also, there's an album from this brethren here.
Yeah,
The
we
Power
call it
and
a
P,
EP
the one
still,
Autarchii. EP. I want to
Yeah.
clear the air. You want to tell the people something about it?
Yeah, the EP is called Disrupting the Status Quo, released in November 26 on the Red Music Group label, distributed by Tough Gang International. So, straight joy, man.
The great Tough Gang, what a connection, Red and Tough Gang. So definitely looking forward to it. And we'll see how it work out when it releases still. See? All right. Fire, what we talking about today?
Yeah, we are talking about something we are going to disrupt a lot of people, daily habits and meditation, see? So, we are say, black people, as true African people overall, globally, has chosen religion over unity. And we see that evident all across the whole stratosphere or anything we want to think about. If in a social environment, a digital environment, any environment, realize that the people them put them religious wants. You see me I say over unification pan a whole. That's how I always tell them from get-go say. You see, this thing called unity is what we're supposed to strive towards, but instead, we are trying to strive towards uniformity, and that's why we're not reach the heights we're supposed to reach. So that reason I got to be both.
All right. And first thing I do want to say is that Christianity has grown tremendously, especially in Africa, over the last 100 years. Like really, really, really big. And I take it that one of the main reasons is that, you know how like the colonized always want to replicate the behaviors of the colonizer? And even though it's not forced on you directly, those who do practice it and are in positions of power, I guess that would be the default to replicate that, because in turn you would be more refined, more prestigious, more white at the end of the day, you know, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And yes, we have to also acknowledge with this religion thing, it's just I think people adopt and they don't think about it. You're raised in a certain household. A lot of parents put a guilt trip on the kids if you don't follow what they follow, even though they themselves never followed it. And that's why it kind of continues without actually practicing it or researching it, which I think is irresponsible to a certain extent. Because how can you commit to something that's supposedly supposed to bring salvation to you or damnation, and yet you don't know anything about it, especially the historical context, you know? And one more thing I want to add too, and I remember reading a study a while ago. Even though African Americans in America now, not other countries in America, they will attend church more. Listen to this, right? The African Americans will attend church more. Caribbean people will read the Bible more than attend church in America.
But it crazy still, you know, if you even think about how the Caribbean population set up and how churches even take over the whole Caribbean scope, it's almost ludicrous if you think about it. The fact say them supposed to lean towards religion for solve them problems, religion for give them hope and direction, and suppose it God for give them the strength where them need and make everything all right. But these are the most religious places and religious regions, yet still them have the most crime. Them have the most hate. Them always have this talk of bad mind. Them have so much segregation amongst themselves. So what are the churches doing for you? Like, check, all right, to the levels where them dig deep in a religious thought processes. Them talk about in Jamaica, for instance, so we see the crime rate so high, one of the highest crime rate in the world, murder rate, I should say, in particular, in the world. We see these people mentioning that they have one solution that they want to implement from time to time, and it's called divine intervention. Can this divine intervention stop the crime that is going on? So it's basically them come out of them human self and looking towards religion again to solve this murder rate, instead of just dealing with the whole conflict, interest, and all of these things, trying to figure out how to solve them problems through direct unity. Them turn towards religion and the divine intervention to see if to stop crime.
Fire. Well, one of the things is some people too spiritual. They don't want to hear it, but they too spiritual, fire, and they're not dealing with the practicality of stuff, right? And I will ask a person now, if you've been praying and it's changed stuff in your environment or changed stuff in policy or anything, continue to pray, right? But the people I know that pray, it don't really change nothing in their life too tough. So I don't really see it as no good activity to bring about change, right? Then the next, but this, this whole, all right, we spoke about it before, right? But the undercurrent of everything is just no accountability. Because remember, if I pray to an outside being or an outside force, that's going to take care of everything. If I ain't supposed to do nothing. Then if nothing don't take place, it don't have nothing to do with me. He or she, whatever you want to identify the God is just not ready to do it. So who am I to go force God's hand on what God want to do? You just check the psychology. So it's like they checked out a life, and it's just a crutch. It's just introduction. Where you do like altar call, offering, then like an excitement, like a stress relief party, I would call it, for like 15, 20 minutes. Then it'd be done. And the whole dynamic of church has nothing to do with spirituality, the competition, the dressing, the carrying the news, the whoring, and all those other, the abuse. We got to acknowledge the physical, mental, and sexual abuse, which is humongous in church, but for whatever reason, people don't acknowledge it. And it's not just the Catholic Church. I think we need to get away from that, where it's just, the Catholic priest is the molester. No, I'm not going to say majority, but there's a lot of sexual abuse that takes place in these churches that people look the other way because the person is a deacon, the person is a pastor, so it's just like, go back to what I was saying, man. This whole notion of you not being active or you not doing anything and things changing is absurd. It's absurd, it's irresponsible, and it's escapism. And we don't have a good track record with it. It's not like people have been praying and stuff. Fire, what has changed? You're a man that know history. What has really changed in America for Black people? I know people don't like when you say this, right? Because they want to pick one. Remember, there's over 30-something million Black people in this country, right? And they'll literally pick 5 people who are doing something. And that 5, which isn't anywhere near a millionth of 1%, is supposed to be the standard everybody else is supposed to meet because they did it for whatever reason. Everyone else. So you tell me, as a knowledgeable man, tell me the things that have changed for Black people from, say, the 60s till now, especially for all my people that have been praying.
No, not all the change. It just the way how it presented in front of them change. So now them can, as we said, them put through one person. Then we say, okay, you have a Condoleezza Rice or somebody who is, assisting all of this thing and making sure that the president is there. Then you have a Barack Obama who come talk pretty for them and tell them, say, oh, my people, let all of these things. And
don't forget to sing, because when the man sing the Al Green today, just capture him,
Then the man capture them with culture, That's the same thing like what you have, like all a politician like Andrew Oles in Jamaica, him just go wear clocks because him know the popular culture. But to still make sure we stay upon the real reasoning there, it just to show you, say, the people them get lost, nothing really changed because overall we own less than 1% of the wealth where they in the country combined. You see me I say? If you think about it technically, fire, but I don't even want the people them feel like they're just Black people and even Christianity we are talking about, because if you bring it to even at the Eastern side of things and in the Asian side of things, you say certain Black people where they pan even them zone there, them use the whole Muslim tradition for even segregate from them own brothers. Because man, I tell you, say, if you don't see Allah as the Almighty, then you are doing the wrong thing, because Allah is the one true and one and only God. It's the same type of concept we see them use when it comes to even the Jewish things, then, because you have a lot of Black people who, even at Ethiopia, whatever they call the Phalasians, but we know, so what I said, the Beta Israeli, even them same way, them segregate from them one another, because if you not deal with that, them don't see you as a respectable person. So you have to think about it from how much corners them trap with religion make a fight against yourself, not realizing, say, yo, you can still be a Jew, and you can still be a Muslim, and you can be a Christian, even though we know enough of the historical part of it flawed.
No,
we get to think together. Them not do that.
No, fire don't work like that. How you gonna have unity? Hold on. How you gonna have unity with different groups when you have unity in Christianity? The Baptists don't hear nothing from no Pentecostal. The Anglican don't hear nothing from the Catholic. The Episcopalian don't hear nothing from the Lutheran. Amongst black people fighting. I think Baptists, you have different tier of Baptists. You have that Southern Baptist, and everybody kind of look down on each other.
Yep.
So you can't really have no unity across religions now. Then now we got to deal with the man who don't, because that's the next schism. If you're not saying Jesus Christ, the man gonna tell you going to hell. The man that ain't trying to work with you. It's just he just cut you off. You just your own family members. Remember, my house was one parent was 7-day Adventist. For those who don't know, they go to church on Saturday. The next person, they weren't really no church person like that, but when they did, they went on Sunday. So even religion divided my own house growing up, because one side of the family 7-day Adventist, and the next side of the family is Sunday. So 7-day Adventists got their own doctrine. Sunday going to hell. Sunday ain't try to play Saturday no mind. Cause they instead of now listen, this is funny. Instead of dealing with real issues, they did argue about what day is the Sabbath. That was a big conversation. And out here, people suffering. There's real things going on. They're concerned about the Sabbath. And I know Rastafari people don't view it as a religion and all that, but they're saying it's the same. What do you want to call it? Interconflict, or it's just the same arguing about nothing.
Be a joke thing, because watch I know if you really check it in a fire. Well, when we think about this thing, normally them say 7 brothers, 7 different minds, right? If we know say 7 brothers, 7 different minds, or 7 sisters, 7 different minds, then how we can expect to see this thing from the same exact angle at the same exact time, from the same exact perspective, and from the same thought process. We know that, and yet still we expect this other person to come in our realm and think like how we think in our realm, when them are for them own shoes to put on to make sure that them can walk go where them are walk go. And we expect to see it from the same exact angle and then argue about these things while all of these policies get fly over our head. The government does come in and trick way. Then put all type of craziness in place to ensure that black people stay at the bottom of the ladder. But these same black people argue with themselves all the time and create segregation amongst themselves before them just unite and know say one strength of people power. We're going to tear down Rome. And when we tear down Rome, every man go about them own way and do them own little thing. I will know, so generally speaking, we're protecting the environment and the space for African people.
I got a certain part I got to disagree. I've been thinking about a lot, the whole concept of African unity. Reason being is this, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. Africa is a European concept, right? Like Africa, a collective piece of land. Because Africans had their different section on the continent, like you have indigenous people. We can't say united indigenous people, right? So, and because there's no unification in Europeans, there may be a unification in powerful Europeans. But in regards to the average European, there really is no unification. And they have their same mix up. I'm Irish, you're from England or other Eastern European countries. So I think that we have to redefine unity in the sense that we're more just open to working together than like this collective unity, because it's really different cultures in a sense. To start with.
So that's why we are saying ones that embrace everything in the Bakara. Remember, a man from over Kenya, seeing him now go, him and a man from over, all right, in Uganda, you have that the Buganda kingdom. Seeing Buganda kingdom. You see me, I say, I have the Kabaka who over there, so I run a theme country. Seeing? And I run a theme terrain. Then if you go across Kenya now, you go have the Kikuyu. You see me, I say? And you go have the field marshal them from Land and Freedom Army them over there, so who live in the bush. And them man that eat all them bush meat and deal with them whole heap of things and deal with them love and strength over there. So and then when you go across to a different level now, remember saying when we go to Bamsa and say Monomatapa, which is Zimbabwe, same way. Them are gonna have different practice. You see me, I say? We know that. You see me, I say? But the thing is, all of these people are collectively being oppressed. So the fact that they are collectively being oppressed, they should realize that the only way for you to rise up of this collective oppression is to join this thing as a collective entity or a collective alliance and a whole, ensure that this thing is evaded where we are being oppressed. Just like how you have a NAFTA, North America Free Trade Alliance, basically the NAFTA come together until they say we're putting Mexico, United States of America, and Canada together for purposes of trade. So we know that. So we have to learn off of capitalism and learn off of structures where them implement and just take a thing and say, okay, if we come together as this thing, remember 5 companies run the whole globe or run the whole market, you know, and them come together as one. That's now a monopoly, and them control 100% market share. So we have to learn off of these things and the systems where the oppressor set in place. That's what the oppressor do to make sure that them they're on top. So we follow these things and learn off of these things. And even if we want our own culture within that, who cares about that? No, because you are going to always do something over the left and me do something over the right. But overall, we fighting against the oppressor, and that's a collective. I see me, I say, just from that standpoint.
Yeah, then I don't want to stray too much from the spiritual thing, right? But I just want to add this in regards to, like, in order that to really manifest, one, people really want to want change, and also we have to like redefine. We have to like pick our own leaders, because it seems like, well, it doesn't seem, it is like all the leaders for the last 100 years are just European. You know, Brajan in my, what I always say, like, people don't want the system to change; they just want their position in the system to change. But we will actually need people who want the system to change, and those leaders will unite for the better of the group, right? And back to this this spirituality now. There's a next group now that has a next fight. People who practice indigenous religious practices, right? Whether it's in Brazil, these South American countries, Central America, South Carolina, you know what I'm saying? That island there, Jamaica, Haiti. It's just like, as long as you're doing anything with a hint of African, because let me tell you, African Americans really, and I'm saying this as a whole, you may have a small group who embrace their African ancestry, right? And who don't like it. It's just the reality. African Americans hate anything African fire.
Well, let me hear you say,